Next up are amines and amides, depending on how you say it. Okay, so they have nitrogen in them. So if you notice, both of their functional groups, when we look at them, their names sound similar, and that's actually because they both have nitrogen, so they do have something in common. One thing I need to point out, there is such a thing as what's called a primary, secondary, and tertiary amine. So an amine can have one carbon chain, it can have two different carbon chains, because remember, nitrogen can make up to 3 bonds, or it could have 3 different carbon chains. In our world, that will never, ever happen. We are only going to be dealing with primary amines. And so what that means is, while this is all great and all these R's are spectacular, it's good to know, it's our world, an amine is just going to be an NH2 stuck onto a carbon chain, just like an alcohol would be, an OH stuck onto a carbon chain. We're never going to have to deal with harder amines than that. So they have 3 in a row. It would be propane. Since carbon 1 has an NH2, they called it 1-propan amine. All right, that's all they did. So when we uncondense it, it's going to look like this. Common question I get a lot is some people say, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to put it on as an NH2. Could you uncondense the 2 H's on the N? Absolutely. I don't see any real need to. I also think this makes it stand out a little bit more as a functional group. I wouldn't mark it wrong, nor would anybody else. If you had to draw the bonding, then I would draw the H's out. But if you're just, for naming purposes, this is totally fine. I did it here and I did it here again. All right, so that's propanamine. So now this next one would be ethane, A-N-E ending, but it gets an amine ending instead of an E. And then the question is, does it get a number? And the answer is no, it doesn't. Because if I put it on this carbon, I call that carbon 1. If I put it on this carbon, I call that carbon 1. So there's no second version, so it doesn't need a number. Condensed looks like this. Okay, for this next one, now I need a number because it's very large and there's going to be more than one version. So I could put it on carbon 1, and that would be 5 in a row would be pentane. Drop the E, add amine. And since this is on carbon 2, it's 2-pentanamine. But the NH3 could be on carbon 1, in which case it would be 1-pentanamine. It could be on carbon 3, making it 3-pentanamine. You could put it on this carbon. I'm not going to call it carbon 4 anymore, because if it was just on this carbon, I would just number it 1, 2 again. And if I put it on this carbon, I would just call that carbon 1 again. So there are 3 versions of pentane amines. There's carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3. Carbon 4 is just a repeat of carbon 2, and carbon 5 is just a repeat of carbon 1. So I like to say, once you've hit the middle mark of the molecule, you've done every version, you've gotten every version possible. And then condensed would look like this. It would look like that. Amides or amides. So amides look like this guy. Again, you can have secondary and tertiary amides, as some people say. We're never going to have that. It's always going to be like this. Double bonded O with an R and an NH2 on it. So the only difference between an amine, a primary amine, and a primary amide is that the amide or amide, depending on who you speak to, there's a double bonded O on the carbon next to the nitrogen. So because of that, we're going to pretend this is an NH2. Think of it like this. So because of the functional group being this guy, essentially, the same way that we knew that aldehydes had to be at the end of the chain because there's a carbon and 1 R next to it, this is the same thing repeating. So amides have to be at the end. So if you notice, they don't get a number. I'm not going to uncondense the 2 H's. You can if you want. Okay, so that's what it looks like uncondensed. For this next one, it would be methane, M-E-T-H-A-N-E, but they dropped the E and added amide, methanamide. All right, there's the name, no number needed, because it's only going to be ever a carbon 1, because there's only one carbon in the whole molecule. This is actually an H over here. Don't be confused there. So when I condense this one's tricky. The first C does have an H, so I go CH. Then I put the double bonded O. Then I put the NH2 on it. Whether or not you put that bond there, that wouldn't make a difference. All right, so that's the condensed version. That one's a little trickier. For this next one, condensing is much more convenient. It's CH3 for this carbon, then CH2, CH2, and here I put a dash in. If you didn't include the dash, that's totally fine. So that's what it looks like. And then this one would be butane, ANE, drop the E, add amide. All right, that is amine and amide, or amine and amide, however you say it. And that's it for this page. We've got a few more and we're done.